challenge, and on the next segment, I'm hit on this education gap.
Yeah, that's good.
And
yeah.
We end up with a solution.
Yeah, that's good. This is good information.
Yeah. But I was mentioning, I have this colleague, she was accepted into a fellowship at Columbia University.
Thank you very much.
And it sounds simple to us to understand social structure in those institutions.
Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. EKSanford8 from Tennessee State University, and he's talking about the influences of social structure on human development. Doctor, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we would give you an opportunity to talk about some of the institutions and some of the things that influence social structure, that influence human development. And let's start off now by giving you that opportunity.
Okay, thank you again. In the last segment, we actually named 10 of the major institutions that make up society. And I think the listening audience or us can always give some thought, but just kind of contextualize the fact that there are those institutions and how we are indeed from birth to where we are right now and going forth very much impacted. For instance, at any given time, we are government/politics influenced. At any time, when we think of the institution of medicine, how we are indeed influenced. If you just think about the institution of the military, we take for granted in many instances that we drive, walk, go wherever we want to go and feel free. So these things influence the society in which we live in. But I want us, given those 10 major institutions, to now look at human development. And I would like to cite Dr. Jean Piaget. He has these 4 cognitive development stages. And I want us to give some thought to the institutions and how where we are socially located end up impacting our cognitive development. His first developmental stage he refers to as the sensory motor stage, and that's from birth to age 2. And I would like to take it a little further from a theoretical point of view for the listening audience to challenge us with some of the problems we have, and even during the conception of 9 months of pregnancy leading to birth are very important for us to eat healthy, to exercise correctly, to see the physical physicians and making appointments, and doing everything that's appropriate during that time for a good, healthy birth. But he indicates that there's something that's going on with the human development even during that sensory motor stage. Now, we need to understand just the senses, and after birth, that those are the things that influence a particular child. So the challenge is, how can we then make a very nurturing environment from birth through the age 2 that a child can learn and develop? And those institutions, the family, having medication, religion, any of them that you can think of will indicate to us that there is some influence going on during that first sensory motor stage. I try to share that we don't need to whip or spank during birth to age 2 because we're dealing primarily with the senses. So many people think that when they tell a little child from birth to 2 to stop doing something that they understand to stop doing and they want to spank them. But they don't. They're just relating to their senses over and over again. You should have that stimulated. So the second developmental stage is referred to as the pre-operational stage. That's from 2 to this large range of age of 7. At this particular time, kids can start to understand our influence by what is in their surroundings. They can start understanding colors. When people start reading Dr. Seuss, they can stories to them. They can start identifying with mom, dad, and others at this particular cognitive developmental stage. We're thinking about reasoning at this point, nothing else but reasoning. And that's a long developmental stage. So to the degree that we understand the influences of social structure, we can do that in a very positive way, say leading into preparation for kindergarten and elementary school. The third operational cognitive developmental stage is that of the concrete. And that goes from 7 to roughly 12 years old. This is where kids can add, multiply, subtract, divide. They understand issues of cause and effect to a certain degree. And during this particular concrete developmental stage, they know right from wrong. They know not to run out into the street if a car is coming. In those early developmental stages, they do not understand those things. The last one is that it's called the formal operational stage at the age of 12 throughout adulthood to where we are and ongoing right now. This says that we have the ability in our cognitive development, our minds, our reasoning ability to be able to think abstractly, to understand a theory, to be able to discuss things and understand the consequences of them, to have cause-effect type of understanding. If I do well in school, I can then be able to prepare myself to go to law school, to graduate school, or to work and to work effectively. That I put this amount of effort in and I can have that outcome. So now, why am I bringing all of this up? I'm trying to link it back to the influence of social structure, thinking if families understood this, then they can place a strong emphasis on the sensory motor stage from birth to age 2 in a different way to try to close an educational gap. If there are certain differences that I'm hoping to get to in the next segment of those gaps that are out there, I'm theorizing very strongly for listening audience that from 0 to 2 is a very important time to do a lot of reading to your child, exposing them to positive effects, allowing them to be able to explore and doing those things in a very positive way at that particular sensory motor from birth to age 2 that leads into 7 to 12.
And so in a real sense, Dr. Sanford, all of these things, these are human developments,
Yes.
which is to say that no matter where humanity might be, that these are the situations that sociologists have said that all humankind in a real sense respond to those developments, those stages that you're talking about. Is that what we're saying here?
That's exactly what we are saying. And that these stages of human development is just so important. And I will reiterate it a little bit later, but the reason I'm stressing so strong the social structure, because we look at the institution of economics, where we are socially located at birth, we call that ascribed status. But as we have opportunities to go into school and work very hard, we can achieve certain levels of occupational opportunities and success in life. But if we understand that model that I've just laid out with Piaget and spend time in reading, we can close the gaps in not doing well in school. But if we don't do those things and don't understand it, then we have a tendency